What's up, everybody? Okay, you already know what time. You see this. You know what the time it is. Let's go. I heard she leave one cracker a day. It's not for Gina. Please leave us in a monkey. Can't stand it. The goats. Let's go. You ain't gotta like her. Let's go. Let's keep it moving. A lot of niggas talking out here, man. It's fucking annoying.
Raise your right hand, put it over your left shoulder, and smack the taste out of anybody. Say any more rumors about anybody.
About anybody.
Hello, Lil Kim. I heard she mad rich.
I just don't joke. Shut the fuck up, man.
Yo, Kim the stick. Nah, Biggie, bro.
Shut up, chick.
I heard she going to jail.
I heard she out on bail.
She done fucked up now. I love that part. I heard RZA banged his cousin. You done fucked up now. Okay. I want to talk about this briefly. By the way, I appreciate your patience. I apologize. The weekend got away from me doing so much around these parts, a little bit of reno and just life stuff. So, I did see the comments. I appreciate that. Where to start on Big Daddy Kane will come, okay? I didn't realize so many people were interested in Big Daddy Kane like that. Now, again, he's a legend. Of course, you should be interested in his music. But I'd be more than happy to do a where to start on BDK. So I got to do a little bit of digging because while I have heard quite a bit of BDK, I think there's maybe one of his albums that I haven't heard. I'm trying to remember. Maybe it's Prince of Darkness. I don't know if I've heard that in full. Anyway, so that will come, okay? It's on the list. I know where to start. Kool Keith, Big Daddy Kane. It's coming. But this is a really interesting comment. Shout out to Abraham Palmer. The psychology of gossip channels when it comes to hip-hop and music nowadays and why people participate in it on the regular. You know, it's interesting, man. You see this stuff, and I don't know if, by the way, you posted this with the whole RZA thing, that came out or that Doggy Diamonds put out. But you look at hip-hop, man, and obviously look at Vlad TV is one of the pioneers of this in the digital YouTube space, right? Not that people weren't doing gossip in hip-hop before. Obviously, you have Wendy Williams, who's kind of like a pioneer in that, right? So gossiping is human nature. There will always be a gossip channel, TMZ, gossip. There's always going to be gossip because it is human nature, right? But then when you look at some of the things or in general what people are discussing, it's all pretty silly shit in the grand scheme of things, right? Will Mills is nobody, right? He's talking about, Diddy, rubbing nut on, like, it's like, who cares? I heard it once. I don't need your take on it, right? Like, pause. Your take on it is not going to add any light to the situation, right? Really and truly. And so we have Doggy Diamonds talking about, he interviewed somebody who is apparently RZA, slept with his cousin, banged his cousin. And I'm like, banged his cousin? Is that like is that a hidden track on Cuban Links? Like, I don't give a fuck. Okay, I'm sorry. I looked at the comments and someone had the TLDR, as y'all would call it, like the Cliffs Notes. And it was just like, okay, it was consensual, they were of age. Who cares? Right? Now, the truth is, even if there was a crime and let's say she was not of age, I personally still wouldn't care, right? Not because I'm an uncaring human being, but because of the fact that I don't have to care. It's not my job to care. It's the court system's job to care, right? That's how these things go. When you commit a crime, then the legal system should come into place and deliver justice, right? So ultimately, it's not up to me to give an opinion on what happened. I'm not qualified enough. It doesn't affect me, right? So in this case, when it's clear that, or at least from what the individual who made the comment said that it was consensual, they were of age, it's a complete nothing burger to me, right? At the end of the day, I'm still bumping Ice Water. Like, I mean, not to say that I would have changed the way I listen to RZA's music, but it's so irrelevant, it doesn't matter. This is why it's important to not glamorize and place people on a pedestal, because I don't know RZA in person. I've met him in person very briefly in passing. He seemed okay. I mean, again, but I don't know him. He doesn't know me. It doesn't matter, right? I admire his work, what he's put out. That's it. It's really that simple as an artist, right? So him as a personal individual, I'm not privy to his personal life. It's irrelevant to me, right? But there's so much of this stuff where people just be inserting stuff that ain't got shit to do with music. I mean, it's so commonplace now that we don't even notice how commonplace it is, right? Again, not to say that there wasn't gossip before, because hip-hop has always had gossip. But of course, it has certainly, I would say, really gone to a fever pitch. And I'll come to why, because Abraham Palmer had a very good question on that. He's like, why do you think people participate on the regular? I'll come back to that. But shout out to Bagfuel. Again, when I knock some of these channels here, I'm being a little light-hearted. I would say, it's a hard shot, kind of, but that doesn't mean that I think that they should close the channel and that they're terrible people. No, I'm just saying that these are things that perhaps they should consider, because I don't think these guys read the comments, right? And for some of these people, I'm sure they have blocked me from even speaking or typing in the comments, which is fine. So, like, I look at someone like this, for example. I don't know what this gentleman, this is Heineken. So they're talking about something, and let's see here. What were they talking about?
I know your work. I'm not gonna say nothing. Niggas get mad.
Okay,
I don't know nobody. So it's like, that ain't the issue.
So Fado's at a party saying, okay, niggas got problems with him, whatever. Like, I don't know what's I got to do with anything. So
a lot of niggas' girlfriends like you in the industry. I know your work. I'm not gonna say nothing.
I was like, I gotta be honest with you. When I was sitting there watching, I was like, pause. Like, I mean, it in the context of the conversation, by the way, because I think they were talking about something else. To me, it came out of left field, right? Because I was sitting there going like, oh, like we, measuring dick size now? Like, what's going on, right? Again, this is just that gossip shit. Like, Vado is, I'm tuning into this, hoping that Vado will actually talk about music. People say he's lazy with the music. Maybe he can get into some insight as to why that might be an issue, why people think that way, what his approach to making music is. Instead, I'm getting, yo, listen, man, you be laying these girls down. I be peeping you, wink, wink. And you're like, what? Now, the only reason I even decided to do this video, I mean, it's not the only reason, obviously, Abraham Palmer's comment. But the reason why I was like, oh, I got to do a video about this shit, it actually became personal. And that I'll blame this solely on Math Hoffa, okay? Shout out to Math Hoffa. So here I was. Teddy Riley's is a legend. I'm listening to Teddy Riley, right? I got this in the car, right? I'm just listening. You guys, for those of y'all who know Math Hoffa, you might know where I'm going with this. So I've got it playing in the background, and I'm focusing on the road, because that's what you're supposed to do as a driver. You focus on the fucking road, right? So here I am. I'm listening to Teddy Riley in the back talk to me about whatever it is that he's talking about, right? He's a legend, right? So I'm driving. Everything's good,
Okay.
And then all of a sudden it's like, you're this. I was like, oh shit. I am not expecting a loud fucking gunshot in the middle while I'm driving, and I literally was like, right? And just for that alone, I'm making this fucking video. Math, you're too egregious with this shit, bro. You got like this. This is dumb nigga shit, like at a peak. Okay, it's fucking dumb to start and end your videos with a gunshot. First of all, what are you implying? That Teddy Riley should get shot? Or any of these people should get shot? Why is that even in there? Right? Like, this is ignorant on a whole nother level. And it's a loud gunshot. Again, it's not like you picked a softer gunshot sound or a more interesting gunshot sound or something where it's like, okay, you can kind of work it in or something. You picked the most loud, raw, like not even raw, like again, but just the most sort of almost realistic gunshot you could find to fuck with the viewer. It's not what we're not here for that. And it's so this nigga be so egregious with this shit. I'll tell you, and you can't even, and it's not like you can kind of in the back of your mind say, oh, it's coming up, because he'll deliberately place this shit, troll shit, I guess, right? Maybe he, but he'll place the stuff when you're not even thinking about the shit. Nigga be talking
How did
mid-sentence,
it feel
and the
knowing
gunshot
that
will
you
go off.
created something that you had to have a sound like that to come out?
Right. Yeah. I mean, those are the things I didn't know.
Right.
Because for me, I never.
I never. What? This is fucking dumb. Now I'm on the road. I'm listening to this shit. I'm waiting. You know, you've asked the nigga the question. It's not like you put the gunshot after the guy asked the question. Then I go, oh, okay, all right. That's a logical, okay, end. We will now find out in the next clip. No, you let Teddy Riley answer the question. I think he's going to answer the question. So I'm waiting. He has a natural pause, as you know, normal people would normally have when they speak. I'm about to. What? These niggas is fucking dumb. And Abraham, you asked me, why do people engage in this, especially on these channels? You be talking Vlad, all this stuff. You know why? Because opinions are cheap. That's one of the major reasons. It's fucking cheap. We unfortunately live in a society now where, I mean, look, things are expensive as hell. Great art is expensive. Making great art has always been expensive. And the studios, the record labels are all cutting corners to make this music as cheap as possible, which is why the music is garbage as fuck, right? So since they're cutting corners and making the cheapest commodity-driven, drivel that they can put out, the internet is like, well, that's what people want. I can do that. It's easy, right? I can also put out drivel as well. The game is done. There's no one putting out anything that really moves the soul, anything that you would say, man, that's some forward-thinking ass shit. It's all weak. So again, it's all weak and cheap and disposable. So therefore, the hip-hop game is weak and disposable and cheap. Opinion is the cheapest commodity. That's the only reason this shit is happening. And if you have access to these people, right, because that's really what it boils down to, you have access to Method Man, you have access to whoever, Tragedy Gaddafi, right, or DJ Clue. You just go, okay, DJ Clue, I put a camera on you. It's fucking cheap. I put a camera on you. Tell me about the time you saw Hove with a little girl. Or whatever, right? Like, and then people just make shit up. Some of it's real, some of it's not, whatever. It's cheap. It's cheap content. Okay? Reality TV came out, made cheap content, changed the game. And now this is sort of like reality TV coming into the YouTube space in a way, if that makes sense. Now, the reason why people gossip, it's age old. If you have time, you can read this article, Psychology Today, which is not a bad site. There's some interesting things that they discuss. To gossip or not to gossip, that is the question. Human beings gossip. Gossip is not necessarily evil, I would say. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a good thing. Most of it, I would argue, is not good, is not healthy. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're an evil person for engaging in gossip. The question is, what is the level in which the strength of what you're saying? Is it somewhat verifiable? Would you say that thing to that person's face, right? If it came down to it, are you talking about something that you shouldn't reveal because it's sensitive, right? I mean, these are the questions, right? Are you being a hater, right? Because a lot of gossipers are haters, right? So there are reasons for this shit. I'll let you read the article on your own time, but obviously gossip is morally questionable for sure. But the age-old aphorism, strong minds discuss ideas. I'm a strong mind. tochiRTA, that's why you're here. I come with receipts. I'm a strong mind. Always have been, always will be. Average minds discuss events, and weak minds discuss people. And I hate to say it, but the people that run these gossip channels, when I look at them speak, I just see weak minds all the time, constantly. It's just weak-minded shit. Listen, and I actually see a lot of people, and again, I know this is a hard shot, but I see a lot of people that actually aren't talented enough to do anything else, like at all. Like they'd probably fail at everything else. Now, is there some sort of credit that I can give for them being able to put out content constantly, right? And build a system like a Vlad would do? Yeah, I do give you some credit. That does require some work. It's not like he just wakes up in the morning and decides to not put out content, right? Clearly, Vlad is regimented, right? And again, he's also a smarter guy than the 99% of people who are his followers, in a sense, after that, who try to do the same thing to various levels of success. But ultimately, when I listen to Vlad talk, he's a weak-minded person, right? And I know that's a hard shot, but his opinions are weak. right? It basically oscillates between trolling and just flat out dumb shit. And you're like, okay, well, I mean, not exactly somebody that I would expect to be able to hold a conversation with actual educated people who have a college degree, who have a master's degree. Like, you're better off talking to hood niggas, with all due respect to them, and poor white trash who never went to school, who don't care. It's not, again, that you didn't even go to school, because not going to school, to me, doesn't make you dumb, right? Everyone has different opportunities in life. Some people cannot afford to go to college, especially nowadays, right? Or even back then, especially. I understand that. I'm not one of those people that judges say, you don't have a university degree, so I can't talk to you. I've never been that way. And it's true. There are people who did not go to school who are smarter than people who did go to school. However, I will say this, though. The odds, obviously, to me are much less, right? In general, people who have the intellectual capacity do end up going to school and pursuing it at a higher level. It's just the truth, right? And remember when I made that video about Kendrick and the seven different attributions of propaganda, one of the first things you learn in college, or you're supposed to learn in college, that you actually don't really learn in high school, is you learn sources and how to be able to analyze different arguments and to cite your sources, which is actually a huge thing. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but when I was in high school, people weren't talking about that shit. Like, yeah, you might write an essay, but no one was like, oh, cite your sources. But once you got to college, you started to think about that kind of stuff. You can't just have an opinion and put it out there, right? Again, in an intellectual forum. In an intellectual forum, if we're discussing and we're supposed to take you seriously, you're supposed to come with receipts. That's the whole point, right? Anyway, so I'll leave it at that. I will say that ultimately, Doggy, or not Doggy, Math Hoffa fixed that damn gunshot. Of course he's going to keep it going because he's ignorant, right? But stuff like that literally prevents your channel from growing, right? Think about someone who is not even, I mean, I'm a hip-hop fan, and I don't like that shit. Not to talk about someone who could be an investor who's like, oh, I really want to check out this guy's interviews, and gunshot, and ends with a gunshot. Like, how can I can't play that shit, right? I can't even play it on my own, not to talk about playing it in the presence of others. And again, I understand there's different audiences for different things. I'm not saying you should water down your content. But when I look at it, I'm like, okay, this thing ain't talking about much, right? He's getting people there to just talk about beef. Yo, that time when you saw Ja Rule, what'd you think? Like, so again, it makes me think that they are weak minds, all things considered, right? All these years have passed. I would argue none of these people have been able to come out with anything substantive that you'd say, oh my God, okay, maybe they traded in gossip to then get to a higher level, right? Like, did they, has Vlad come out with something like, I don't know, a TV show, a network or something beyond where you could say, oh, okay, yeah, all right, he murked in, he danced in the dirt for a decade, but he used it to raise his guap so he can invest in something that, brings intelligent minds together. No, right? And I'm sorry, this is a hard shot, but I just have to be honest. Y'all want the raw, right? I mean, Doggy, I fuck with your hip hop taste to a certain extent. I think you're definitely much more knowledgeable than 90% of these people who talk this hip hop shit. And like I've said this on camera, right? You've experienced shit that I've never experienced. You grew up with Big and all these people. I don't know nothing about that, right? But I'm saying, instead of making videos about RZA's cousin and stuff that I don't care about, right? You're someone who's a hip hop producer, right? After all these years, and again, maybe you are working, I know you've been working on your album on the side and things like that, so at least maybe Doggy is coming with something. But this is what I would expect. You have a channel, you've created an audience, you've got almost 300,000 subscribers, right? And you understand how hip hop works, you understand what's dope, what's whack. Make an album, right? You can get Mike Geronimo on a phone call, you can get Tragedy, Royal Flush, whatever. Get them together, make some shit, right? You gotta, at some point, contribute something positive back to the community. You can't just be all gossip and gossip and gossip, right? And this, to me, is obviously the real issue. Again, you're gonna see, right? Real shit. It's gonna come out. And you guys will be like, oh, I get it now. He's on a different level. He's thinking different shit. Because ultimately, yeah, this is cute. I can give my opinion on this, that, and the third. But what can I contribute positively to the art form? That's the question. And I'm going to leave you with that. I appreciate y'all. Rock with me as always. Next time. Peace. Love y'all.